All right. That was a fun little glitch there for the video. I don't know what's going on. Things are glitching out today. It's a glitchy kind of day, but it's a Friday and it's fine. And I'm also trying to do too many things at once. But good to see you. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. My haircut looks good. I'm wearing a hat. What? No, not now. Thanks. Jesus. I don't know what is that. No. I'm just Not now. I'm trying to do a show, people. I swear to God. So, anyways, hello. Greetings. Welcome. We're here. Thanks for being here. Good to see you all joining in. So much to talk about today. So much going on. I want to play. I don't know if I'm going to get. Yeah, I still have my hair. It's just hidden under the cap. The real deal about the lights floating around? Or you guys want to talk about aliens? Okay. You guys want to talk about aliens? I want to talk about surveillance, funded bots, funded organizations, not so real entities out there trying to steer you towards a certain viewpoint and or trying to smear people or I don't know what's going on. There's a whole lot going on. First of all, let's watch this. It's a song. Well, also another big thing to talk about is the reaction towards the United Health CEO. I mean, this is a big story. This story has really gone on for several days and got so much attention. The I don't know what you want to call it, the murder, assassination, whatever of Brian. We'll call him Brian, the United Healthcare CEO. What people are really noticing is that the fact that people are taking so much joy and having such a fun time with this person's demise, right? So people are really kind of the comment section of a lot of the videos involving this person's demise was filled with people saying, just being quite gleeful and giddy about, and also having a lot of jokes. Oh, hold on one second. I wish I could find. Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I'm seeing it even creep into places like Facebook, where people are posting about the comments regarding, the denial, denial of claims and denial of procedures. It's, towards the, sorry for your situation, but please hold, etc. Anyways, all that is to say, which I'm not saying very well at the moment because I'm trying to do too many things. I really am trying to do too many things. I'm trying to click and talk at the same time, which I can totally do, but sometimes I'm trying to look for something in particular. While I'm looking, let's listen to this song, which kind of illustrates my point. The kids are writing folk songs about United Healthcare CEO assassination, and this is a pretty good one.
Open up your eyes, it's a brand new nation. The people got a prize and a blood celebration. He always used to say that life is not a paid vacation, and living is a curse if you ain't got the purse to pay them. And we could all be free so long as we ain't all too patient. Be a thorn upon the rose, deny, defend, depose. Yeah, he turned like a worm, but he looked to the graveyard. But guns got a way of hitting hearts no matter how hard. Wishing he'd applied for that bulletproof credit card. Should have saved the money in the Roth for a lucky star. Now he's on that lonesome Jordan road. Deny, defend, depose.
I rather like that one. Don't think I'll get hit with a copyright strike on that. Oh, hold on, I didn't want to do that. Oh, here we go. I already had it up. Top security firm inundated with calls after execution of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson as CEOs fear for their lives. What I'm seeing is a lot of a discussion about, we've moved into the pitchfork phase, right? Well, this is what people are discussing, right? Like the reaction is one of, well, almost celebration on the part of the people. And this is exactly why they're trying to shut down the internet. This is exactly why they're trying to create, and they've been doing this for a long time. This is not new. This has been going on. Trying to create the idea that if you are anti-establishment or anti-corporation or anti-government or anti-whatever, if you're speaking out on certain things, policies, happenings, wars, whatever it might be, that the government is trying to sell to you, if you are not buying what they're selling, then they want to paint everybody who thinks like that, which is the majority of people, right? This is these days. They want to paint everybody who has anti-establishment thoughts, tendencies, questions, whatever it might be. They want to paint them as bad people in order to get them, run off social media or censored or worse, right? It could be, censorship is just kind of the first front of this, which is bad enough, because if you can't say what you got to say, if you don't have free speech, if you don't have the right to assembly, if you don't have, all kinds of things, then it's hard to make changes, right? It's even harder to make changes. This is where it goes on to full-fledged authoritarianism, etc. If they start shutting down people's ability to say anything, do anything about their situation, make demands or complaints to the authorities of, hey, like, we don't like this, we don't want this, we want to, we want something different. The problem is, through historically, and somebody asked this, I saw somebody ask this question, tell me where we are in historical terms when everyone is cheering on the assassination of this United Healthcare CEO. I did see, not Kyle Kulinski. No. And then you have another layer, not to get too deep in the woods. You have another layer of people using the idea of truth telling and free speech, corralling people or sheep herding people into certain platforms or, into certain ideas, maybe, voting for certain candidates. With the very thing, with the idea that they're going to protect their rights to free speech, assembly, petition the government, etc. They're having these wants of the public being used surreptitiously against them in order to, sheepdog them, corral them. And I'm talking about X right now. I'm talking about Twitter, but other places as well. There's all ways to do it, because of X, right? You have this exodus of people going to other platforms, Threads or Blue Sky or some other platform, because they're like, I'm out of here. There's just free speech and Nazis here, blah, right? But that's, in a way, they're just going to other intelligence controlled platform, right? Even more controlled platforms, right? So it's hard to know. It's hard to get a grip on what's going on. I do want to. I kind of wanted to play a bit of this James Corbett, Whitney Webb, because I know I've said things about James Corbett, but I wanted to talk about James Corbett. I mean, I do like a lot of James Corbett's work. Voting is ended now. Yeah. By the way, here's another. This is Mike Benz. I'm not super familiar with Mike Benz, but this is a NATO. This is the NATO. This is Jens, Secretary General, saying that they want to control all fronts. They control the front from tanks to tweets. So he's threatening controlling what people are seeing or hearing, and most importantly, saying. Let's listen to this. He was talking about this on Joe Rogan, I guess, and he's replaying it.
Yes, hello. I'm here to announce NATO is going to take over Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Discord, and Reddit. Any questions?
NATO must remain prepared for both conventional and hybrid threats, from tanks to tweets. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me roll that tape back. Look how he looks directly in the camera for the first time in the speech, right when he hits that operatic high note.
And hybrid threats, from tanks to tweets. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
NATO must control your tweets. I got to play this one more time.
Both conventional and hybrid threats, from tanks to tweets.
You motherfucker!
Thank you very much. This concludes this.
How can you say that? How can you say that? How can you just sit there as a fucking military official and say that? Yeah, I wanted to put that on a Jumbotron. Yeah, I wanted to put that on Rogan. Fuck, why didn't I put that on? Well, I should have stopped and said, pull the clip. The world needs to see this. This is the head of NATO, the General Secretary of NATO, sticking his wang in your face and saying, we are the media now.
Yeah, well, you guys get the idea. The idea is to control, really like and it's I'm seeing it and feeling it on a personal level that censorship being kind of like, I don't know, it seems to go back and forth to me a little bit, but right now I'm feeling more censorship pressure. For sure. I mean, I'm just losing followers like by the minute on Twitter. This is whatever. I mean, it's kind of usual. I'm not like, it's not like something that I guess I'm not helping my case because I can be a little bit vitriolic, but there's no gas in New Jersey. What? Oh, are you talking about your propane? Okay. What's up, Rockfinners? We're live on Rockfin, YouTube, Rumble. You like my long intros? Yeah. Rockfin is a little pretty delayed. Yeah. No, really? Deline Parole says Verizon text message platform is ending their own text message service and going to be ran by Google in the coming days. No way. No way. Holy, that's huge. That is huge. No, there's so listen. We know it's a uniparty, and and that whatever's coming is coming. It didn't really matter who you voted for. It's coming. I mean, things are coming in, things are going on right now under the still Biden administration that will probably just be carried forward by Trump, or who knows? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. He's not president yet. Maybe he'll never get there. Who knows? Let's make it to the end of the year. But there seems to be a lot of ramping up of all kinds of nonsense right now, not just military escapades and the throwing of gold bars off of ships or whatever off the Titanic, as whatever the guy at the EPA was saying about what the Biden administration was doing before Trump took office. But there does seem to be kind of like I feel like there's kind of a not very quiet ramp up of social media censorship going on, or they're trying to quickly put things in place to kind of control stuff. I'm kind of just freestyling right now. I do want to get to talking about Just Collapse attacking Jem Bendell on Twitter, but I have some thoughts on it. I messaged Jem. I would like to have an interview with Jem. I don't know. I have a really hard time, like, when I see things that piss me off on Twitter, mostly on Twitter. I tend to go in real hot, guns blazing, and like a cursing like a sailor, and then I sometimes then I calm down and start having a conversation. But first, sometimes I see things that piss me off and I go in hot, and that is to my detriment. I'm trying to change that about myself because it doesn't really help the conversation. Anyways. I saw them kind of going after Jem Bendell, and I was like, went in with a piss off tweet first, and then I was like, hold on, let me tell you why this is problematic. And we kind of, I'll get into it. It's an interesting thing that's going on with Just Collapse and Jem Bendell, but it's worth unpacking. And actually, there was a lot of really great things said around this conversation that happened on Twitter. There was actually some very interesting things said. First thing I'm going to do, though, is find a little bit of Whitney Webb and James Corbett. You should watch this whole thing. It's not all that long, but we'll play a little bit of it. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Repersoning. They're talking about. Hold on. They're talking about what's going on with James Corbett and Whitney Webb, in that they're being well, they're facing a different weird kind of censorship called repersoning. And let me just play this for you guys a little bit. Here we go.
At the table, but you tell us, what is happening to you in this digital repersoning future of censorship land that we're living in these days?
Yeah, so like you know, I've had accounts that pop up on platforms where I don't exist, claiming to be me. Mainly on Facebook, where I don't have an account. And, you know, they mix together all sorts of stuff that I do say on the one social media account, conventional social media account I do have, which is Twitter. They'll post some of that and then add things like, Elon Musk is our Lord and Savior, and, you know, things I would never say. So kind of muddying the waters, but that isn't really the biggest problem I'm facing. So the biggest problem in terms of like impersonation and repersoning has actually been happening to me on YouTube. And it started during this period where I wasn't really active, probably for, you know, most of last year and the first part of this year. I have one of my young son who's about 2, had a major health crisis. I was in a hospital for like almost a year. And so I wasn't doing as many interviews. So then these channels started clipping old interviews I had done, and then basically editing them into like documentaries, I guess, about stuff I've never talked about, like CERN, for example. And it's not like I don't think there's anything nefarious going on at CERN, right? But it's something I've never reported on or have ever publicly really spoken about. And you know, saying that I like think you know there's a black hole at CERN and all of this stuff. Well, that's not really what I'm saying. And then it started happening also. I had one appearance in January on a rather large Bitcoin podcast called What Bitcoin Did, that got like 1 million views. And after that, all of these finance YouTube channels started taking clips from that and then superimposing their narration after showing an actual clip of my interview, saying that I was shilling a particular token or coin, which I have never done. I do not give financial.
Yeah. So this is, I guess this was happening to James Corbett as well, where they had fake accounts or fake videos or fake posts of them saying things that they wouldn't say. And it's a very ingenious and kind of dastardly way to, and then when he says, you know, if they censor you or they cancel you, it actually could help your credibility. So sometimes that's right, the blowback. When you kick somebody off Twitter or you kick somebody, it helps your credibility by, you know, see, you know, I've been censored and I've been censored because I tell the truth. So listen to me harder, right? So they're saying this is kind of like a different tack by the powers that be, that instead of canceling people, well, they'll cancel them and then repurpose what their image or their likeness is into them saying things that they would never say. So it's wild. I want to play the last part of this interview too, because she kind of goes into just more of a overview of like what the problem is. So Whitney is one of the main people that I hear talking about get off of social media altogether, which is hard to do, and also an interesting message because we're all on social media and we're all trying to communicate with each other. So if you get off social media altogether, it's kind of hard to communicate. And that's, my frustration with my own censorship is that I feel like I'm just talking into a void. And so it's very difficult for me to even have any, I'm talking, you guys are here, which is great, but like on most of my other platforms, I'm very, 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 very suppressed. So suppressed that like barely anybody sees anything that I post. So it's like, it makes me feel like, why do I do this? But that's the point. They're trying to get you to leave, to quit, to give up, to say like, nah, screw it. I'm over this. I'm not going to do this anymore. That's the point of it. So she is a big proponent of getting off of social media and or creating like a post social media. Thank you. Right. We are the void. Well, there it is. That's I like that. Here, we'll listen to a little later in the interview.
A couple of really important points that I want to pick up on. One is that, yes, I think there are two types of people. People who know that they can be tricked and manipulated and deceived and have their emotions played with, etc. And people who think that they can't. Oh, I won't be tricked by that sort of stuff. And I always look at people who say that and think, you will be the most gullible. You will be the most easily manipulated if you really think that you can't be, oh, I couldn't possibly be tricked by this stuff. You have no idea how sophisticated this stuff can be. But it does raise the question of the real solution. And you phrased that actually in a wonderful way, because I'm sitting here trying to think of any way. There seems to be two paths forward. And one is that sort of AI arms race. We need our own personal AI bots and personal assistants to protect us from the bad AI, and we need our own drones to protect us from the military drones and what have you. And it's the technological arms race. And the only other way that I can see it is kind of the Luddite version of, okay, we have to completely abandon the digital space altogether. But you phrase that interestingly, post social media. What does that mean to you? What is post-social media environment? How do we begin even conceptualizing that, let alone creating it?
Yeah, so I mean, essentially what I mean by that is that all the large conventional social media, the ones that are widely used, and I guess really because of that of that user base, are the most effective, even with the censorship of distributing information. Ultimately, they are weaponized perception management and narrative control battlefields that are only going to get, the ante is only going to be upped more and more and more and more, making it more aggressive and really making the risk benefit analysis of regular people that actually want truth, or, actual journalists that don't feel like selling out or praying at the altar of Elon Musk. It's going to be very hard to access or distribute information effectively on that platform, and that we should stop looking at it as the public square, the town square or whatever. It is a war zone. It should be treated as such. We should be off them as much as possible. So really to that, I see the solution as if you want to follow people, use an RSS feed reader, sign up for people's newsletters, take it back to email. You don't need social media to feed you the content that you want to see. You should, by now, if you've been following, accounts or people on independent media long enough, know who you like, know who you don't, and then try and aggregate through RSS or other means, some sort of, your own proprietary, really, news feed that isn't censored, and you can access information that way without having to dip a toe into, these militarized and weaponized platforms that, frame themselves as a place where everyone has a seat at the table. And that's.
Yeah. Anyways, it's interesting. She's one of the few people I hear talking about, carrying forth this message. But considering her knowledge and her depth of, and I feel like her integrity, that she brings to the table, and her deep research and all that. I feel like she's a person to be listened to. It's funny because she was saying don't verify on any platforms, which I have been really, no verification. Deep State killed the guy who created RSS feeds. Really? Okay. He doesn't, but he did. Delene, he doesn't talk about 9/11 too much. I don't hear a lot of people talking about 9/11 on a regular basis, but he did this past 9/11. I think he did a retrospective kind of thing. I think he usually does. You go back and look at all my videos from 9/11 or whatever. Anyways, I think she, her message is something to take heed and listen to, and put that in your knowledge bank in your pocket and think about it. Would like to. I've been trying to, get into moving into other platforms, and trying to figure out different ways to kind of present this, not just this information, but even my music stuff is not is my music stuff is not, not as censored as this is, but somewhat affected by it because I'm the same person. I heard another good interview with someone the other day, and I can't even remember who it was, but it was a woman who was like facing censorship, and she was a musician, and she's like, all of your platforms and even if you try to make another account or try to make like a ghost account or try to reinvent yourself on the internet now, it's very difficult because they have so many identifiers of like your location, your face, your person, where you are, everything about you is already stored in a huge database. So if you're on a naughty list, it's almost impossible to get around or get off of the naughty list or get around it or create another account. So it's very hard. It's very hard to get around the censorship. So that's just what it is. And so I am looking at different ways to try and move forward, either on some different platforms or in different ways in which everybody can stay connected and stay connected to this information. I can stay connected to my followers and to the people, right? I can stay connected to my listeners, either here or musically. Because things are going to be changing pretty quickly in the near future. Oh, well, on that note, and I'll play this. Did I play this before? The weird Chinese like robot sphere that goes after people. This is like a police ball, but it's very scary. Chinese spherical police robot designed to move both on land and in water and pursue criminals. It even has a net gun. Handcuffing may be a problem though, but I guess it can just roll into you and hurt you bad enough to shadow band, put it on a t-shirt. Yeah, have I seen a shadow band t-shirt? Maybe. I think I might do that. Sure, why not? It's worth doing. Get a police ball and a police dog together and they'll be doing some kind of dance. Gene on Rockfin says, I deeply agree with Whitney. Do more things like showing up at county commission meetings. Sure. I forgot to say a proper hello to Old as Dirt and William over there. Hello, guys. And I know there's other people watching, but anyways, that was okay. So let's get into this story. It's kind of crazy. Again, I'm not doing myself any. I know that I can get really riled up on, and I have an issue on social media sometimes of getting like triggered. I guess would be getting triggered and then lashing out at people when I see them doing really like what I think are pretty horrible things on the internet, or saying pretty ridiculous things on the internet, but it doesn't help my case to do that. So I really try to control myself. But anyways, I saw this last night and I was like, screw you guys. I was like, screw you guys. My immediate response was like, F you. I did not say that, but this is okay. So Just Collapse, man, going south. Yeah, I know you had them on your show and you say they're great people, but what are they doing? It's kind of a weird thing. They've been going after Jem Bendell and calling him a fascist and stuff. And I've been pointing out for a while that Jem Bendell was one of the few climate aware people that I thought was really a decent person to follow and a good person to interact with, because he does not adhere to, kowtow to, bow down to the liberal, ideology, right? The liberal dogma of, not just climate change. It's like when you get into the climate, and we've talked about this many times, the climate community there seems to be quite a few people who are aligned with lefty liberal dogma, or seem to be susceptible to lining up with it. And there was a really good interaction actually on this post. My interaction aside, which I feel kind of bad about, but whatever. I mean, sometimes you just whatever. Sometimes I can be a little rough around the edges, but it is what it is. When I actually just stop myself and just try to get some salient points in, it's better. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is this is Just Collapse saying why we were calling Jem Bendell out, even though he talks collapse, who he platforms: Jay Bhattacharya, Angus Dalgleish. I don't know a lot about Angus, the Austrian far right party. They're just they're trying to say he's platforming right wing people, and I'm just like, okay, I don't understand what's going on here, or I think I do understand, but I'm horrified by it, offended by it, and I felt like flying in and defending Jem because I'm just like, you guys are just typical liberal climate douches basically, because you're going after he's oh my god, Jay Bhattacharya, like they're trying to paint Jay Bhattacharya as right and somehow having a history with the Rand Corporation that I don't know about. They go on to say deep adaptations. Jem Bendell is promoting right-wing individuals and ideas. Oh no, the horrors. When we raised our concerns, he suggested we are arrogant, cowardly, authoritarian, eco-Stalinist trolls. We now feel we must publicly distance ourselves from Jem. Oh, again, how will he ever recover? I'm sure he's anyways, they're saying they have to distance themselves from him. He said, left libertarianism is perhaps the most deeply thought and widely practiced form of left-wing politics worldwide throughout history. Right. Liberalism, or traditional liberalism, which is actually libertarianism, which is, freedom and freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom, etc. Only people robbed of their political history and or obsessed with U.S. post-war politics, not global liberation, would ignore the grand history of left libertarianism. Instead, we can learn from it and apply it to these times. As I begin in breaking together. Otherwise, what are you offering? A bland form of pseudo-socialism or an authoritarian kind? At least John Foster is now public about his eco-Stalinism. So, and he's pointing out that what they're doing is going towards, it's fascism on some level. If you're saying like, we're calling you out, we're distancing ourselves from you, we are canceling you for, we're telling, we're smearing you, we're telling everybody you're a very bad person, like doing the typical like lefty online cancel dance. It's ridiculous. No, I didn't feel the earthquake, Delene. I did not feel it. I'm immune to feeling earthquakes mostly, unless they're right underneath me. Anyways, this is how Jem Bendell responds when we point out both his strengths, his propensity for promoting right-wing commentators. Blah, blah, boop, boop, boop. He goes on to say, I wanted to check if the Twitter account user behind Just Collapse is really an authoritarian who denigrates critical debate about Big Pharma's influence on the most significant recent disruption to life. And this is why they're kind of going after him, because he's critical of like COVID policies, right? And he likes Jay Bhattacharya, and he likes critical thought around the vaccines and COVID policy and stuff like that, which is why I like Jem Bendell, which is why I often retweet him and often, praise his takes, because he is a refreshingly different voice in the, liberal climate land. He said, "You already showed you betray centuries of leftist struggle for justice and freedom in order to take pot shots. Now you behave like a troll." So he's going after them in a pretty harsh way. So maybe I don't feel so bad about it. I just said you guys are just typical liberal climate idiots that can't see outside of your ideological. I actually said something much harsher than that, but I deleted the tweet. I called them wankers, but whatever. Who cares? I deleted the tweet because I didn't want to be too jerky, but I said, but I think that my main point, and I did get to say that to them, and they did respond to me. I said, is there a political agenda here? To this organization, like so many other climate organizations, there are a lot of climate organizations that are funded or right? There's a lot of WEF, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, WEF, Gavi, all those other, WHO and WEF aligned, organizations that do a lot of behind the scenes funding of climate organizations. It's why it's hard to get behind certain climate organizations, because you really have to deeply look into who is funding them and who's promoting them and who's driving their ultimate agenda, right? Like, yes, they're yes, they are drawing attention to the climate situation, which is fine, which is great, which I support, right? But you also have to know that a lot of these, right, when the mask is off, when you go down the road with some of these climate organizations, you find out that they're really just kind of trying to promote like a World Economic Forum type agenda, right? And so it's even hard for me to, who is it? Mike Hudema, who is a climate person, but he retweets like WEF videos all the time, and they seem, mostly, just like they're just calling attention to the climate crisis. But because they have the WEF symbol on it, I'm like, I don't want to retweet this. Because of what they stand for, and because of what they're involved in, and because of what their ultimate goals are, which is controlling, the rest of the resources on the planet, and not saving the planet, right? They're not interested in saving the planet. They're interested in driving everybody into a control grid. That is their ultimate goal, right? And so I said, are you trying to promote, are you here really talking about collapse, or are you here, for a political agenda to promote WEF and WHO agendas guided by the hand of the Gates? They were like, please elaborate, tell me more. And I just said, it's just what I said. Just what I said, which is, there's funding of these organizations, and let's see, that's not what I said. Come on now. As I said, there's a concerted effort to fund climate change organizations that align with WEF values. Maybe you just do that for free. But Jem is just pointing out things on issues on an individual basis and promoting ideas that are logical and science-based, which he is. That is what he's doing. He's not, platforming right-wingers. But on some levels, I feel like Just Collapse have exposed themselves. And so I think I was over the target on this, honestly, because they said, please explain. And I did. And then they just shut up. They didn't have anything to say about that. I was like, boom. And, Grant, there was like, the responses to Just Collapse are pretty much like negative. People are like, no, I don't think you guys get it. Somebody else posted a really good article about, I wish this would stop happening. Someone else posted an article about mass formation, right? Which is, basically the idea, the concept, the idea of everybody being propagandized to the point of being like having like a mass brainwashing event, which COVID, this is what people bring up around COVID, mass formation. I don't know if I can find this article here. Anyways, I was, hoping that my input, obsolete optics, actually good takes here. Liberals hate lefties more than they hate conservatives. Liberalism has always been the handmaid of fascism. Yes. Anyways, a lot of people actually came back on Just Collapse and kind of responded to them in pretty great ways. Kim Goldberg, here's a piece I wrote in 2021 about how COVID drove leftists into binary authoritarian thinking to such a degree that most on the left can no longer analyze the world around them correctly. This is totally correct, on the money. There's more people coming, and more like climate aware people coming around to the idea that like the ideological silo that you're in is not helping and not helpful, and actually it doesn't even help the climate, right? So there's got to be thinking, and I actually credit Michael Moore. Planet of the Humans is one of the first like shots over the bow of kind of poking, bursting the bubble of the climate silo, and pointing out that there are a lot of people in the climate movement that are bad actors. Of course, Cory Morningstar was doing this already, and there were other people doing it. Pointing out that the people in the climate movement are bad actors. But I just don't. Just Collapse going hard on Jen Bendel like this, I feel like is agenda driven and is not. I don't think they're sitting around like, oh, maybe they are. Maybe they're just maybe they really don't like what he's saying and they're just honest actors and they just don't like what he's saying and they just feel like, but the way that they're going about it seems awfully agenda driven and doesn't seem to be, whatever. I kind of wanted to just look at this article just a bit, but her article is called Mass Formation, How the Left Got Duped. I mean, I think this is probably worth reading on the whole. I've never seen this article nor seen this person. This might be too long. I might save this for another day, but we'll save this for like Monday. I can't get into it right now because it's almost the end of the hour. Anyways, I'm trying to get Jim Bendel to do an interview with me. I don't know if he will. I hope that he does. Jim, I'm not the. I get a little bit irate sometimes on Twitter, but mostly not irate. I just want to have a decent conversation around what's going on with the climate movement, with the left in general, with censorship. I wanted to ask him about being censored. He was kicked off of Twitter for a while. Going South says, I think the lady who tweets for Just Collapse works at an Australian university. Yeah. I don't know though. I mean, like I said, hey, you guys sound like you're promoting an agenda, and they didn't really have much to say back. So they didn't have any like, no, we're not. They didn't say we're just here. This is just what we believe in. They didn't have any retorts. So who knows? Don't know that I have too much more to do. If you like the show, if you enjoy the show coming to you for free 99 Monday through Friday, if you want to keep seeing the show coming to you for free 99 or keep seeing the show at all, it's it's touch and go. There are days when I just don't know if I can do everything and balance doing the show and doing everything else I got to do. It's it's some work. I'm letting you know it's some work. But if you like the show, you want to support the show in a financial way, I would greatly appreciate that. There are lots of ways to do it. In the description box, there's a whole lot of links. Just like a whole lot of love, Led Zeppelin, just plug in the words, a whole lot of links. And there's PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Patreon, coffees, buy me a coffee, Ko-Fi, buy me a Ko-Fi. I don't know. There's lots of ways to do it. Many of you already support the show, have supported the show, continue to support the show, and I really, really appreciate you for doing that. Y'all are awesome and lovely. Anyways, I'm hoping that Jem at least responds to my message and tells me yes or no, but maybe not. Or maybe there's a better way to get in touch with him. I'm sure maybe on his website. Maybe I'll try his website. I would love to get an interview with Whitney Webb too, but I don't know. Maybe I'm too small fry for that. I've read a lot of Just Collapse tweets in the past, and I've engaged with them in the past, but this is a weird. When I saw this happening, and I was just like, what is going on? why are they going hard on Jem Bendell? Anyways, Just Collapse already. Persuasion, yeah. What did somebody say yesterday about Just Collapse? It was kind of funny. I can't remember what it was. Did I miss anything else? I feel like I had something else to show y'all today. And anyways, climate change continues apace. I mean, if you're now, I don't feel so alone, Steph. Thanks for letting me know. You lost a lot of followers too. I lost like 60 followers in like a week on Twitter. There's a lot of people saying that Nancy Pelosi is behind the Brian. Is that his name? Brian Thompson assassination? That's a stretch. I mean, maybe not. A lot of people are pushing this. Maybe, but somehow, I mean, I think bought some stock that was involved in United Healthcare. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a big claim to make. Somehow she's linked. I don't know. Yeah. Meanwhile, that was the other shoot. I totally forgot this whole story about clouds, and increased warming. Okay, that's what I forgot to talk about. But we maybe we'll have to talk about this some more. Also, the French government collapsed, by the way. I think that's old news. The French government is in trouble because economically they're in trouble. You were getting close to 1K. You're ahead of me, Steph C. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, not crazy. That's cool that you're at 1K. I just say that because it's like I've been on Twitter for a long time. I've been doing this show for a long time. You would think that I would have like some followers, but I've literally been at 700 for like 5 years straight. It's capped at 700. They won't let me go above it. You'd think just having the account that I might get a couple followers here and there. Okay, this is a headline, and maybe we'll do more in depth. On Monday, rapid surge in global warming mainly due to reduced planetary albedo. I feel like we talked about. There was another study that was Similar, there was another report similar to this. I feel like earlier this year or maybe last year, about the loss of clouds, leading to increased warming. Rapid surge in global warming, mainly due to reduced planetary albedo. Researchers suggest 2023 set a number of alarming new records. The global mean temperature also rose to nearly 1.5 degrees Celsius. No, nearly. So I don't understand. We've been at 1.6 for 365 days, but we're almost at 1.5. So somebody help me do the math on that. Yes, I know all my followers by name on Twitter. Yes. Seeking to identify the causes of this sudden rise has proven a challenge for researchers. Global dimming. So one of the things people talk about a lot. That's one of them. It's something people talk about a lot, but I would say, well, climate change is just advancing apace. Is the other reason is that climate change keeps getting worse. Seeking to identify the causes of the sudden rise has proven a challenge. Doing so, so they're factoring in all the effects. Doing so still leaves a gap of roughly 0.2 degrees Celsius, which has never been satisfactorily explained. In addition to the influence of El Nino and expected long-term warming from anthropogenic greenhouse gases, several other factors have already been discussed that could have contributed to the surprisingly high global mean temperature since 2023. Says Dr. Helge Gosling, including increased solar activity, large amounts of water vapor from volcanic eruption, or fewer aerosol particles in the atmosphere. But if all of these factors are combined, there is still 0.2 degrees Celsius of warming with no readily apparent cause. See, what caught our eye was that in both the NASA and ECMWF datasets, 2023 stood out as the year with the lowest planetary albedo. Planetary albedo describes a percentage of incoming solar radiation that is reflected back into space after all interactions with atmosphere and the surface of the Earth. We've noticed a slight decline in recent years. Dataset indicates that 2023, the planetary albedo may have been at its lowest since at least 1940. What caused this near record drop in planetary albedo? Decline in lower altitude clouds reduces Earth's albedo. Wow. I think this is and now I'm going to go jaunt to the edge real quick, but I think this is tied into the thing that I'm witnessing with the creation of clouds, right? You wonder why they're creating clouds. Well, if there has been a steady drop in albedo due to the loss of low level clouds, and you can create clouds to help offset the warming. Why wouldn't you do it? Anyways, I just wanted to interject that there. You can agree or disagree. However, our analysis of the data set shows that the decline in surface albedo in the polar regions only accounts for roughly 15%. What they found without the reduced albedo, let me see. Albedo has also dropped markedly elsewhere. In order to calculate the potential effects of this reduced albedo, they applied an established energy budget model. Blah, boop, boop, boop. What they found without the reduced albedo since December 2020, the mean temperature in 2023 would have been approximately 0.23 degrees Celsius lower. Bada bing, there's your missing 0.2 Celsius. One trend appears to have significantly affected the reduced planetary albedo: the decline in low altitude clouds in the northern mid latitudes and the tropics. In this regard, the Atlantic particularly stands out, i.e., exactly the same region where the most unusual temperature records were observed in 2023. Wow. conspicuous at the eastern North Atlantic, which is one of the main drivers of the latest jump in global mean temperature, was characterized by a substantial decline in low altitude clouds, not just in 2023, but also like almost all of the Atlantic in the past 10 years. The data shows the cloud cover at low altitudes has declined, while declining only slightly, if at all, at moderate and high altitudes. Interesting. The fact that mainly low clouds and not higher altitude clouds are responsible for the reduced albedo has important consequences. Clouds at all altitudes reflect sunlight, producing a cooling effect. I'm going to read that again. Clouds at all altitudes reflect sunlight, producing a cooling effect. But clouds in high, cold atmospheric layers also produce a warming effect because they keep the warmth emitted from the surface in the atmosphere. Essentially, it's the same effect as greenhouse gases. Or if there are fewer low clouds, we only lose the cooling effect, making things warmer. Why are there fewer low clouds? Lower concentrations of anthropogenic aerosols in the atmosphere, especially due to stricter regulations on marine fuel, are likely a contributing factor. Oh, a tie to global dimming. As condensation nuclei, aerosols play an essential part in cloud formation while also reflecting sunlight themselves. In addition, natural fluctuations in ocean feedback may have contributed, yet Gosling considers it unlikely that these factors alone suffice and suggests a third mechanism. Global warming itself is reducing the number of low clouds. Ha. So that's all of these things together can combine to create this. It's interesting. That is very interesting. If a large part of the decline in albedo is indeed due to feedbacks between global warming and low clouds, some climate models indicate we should expect rather intense warming in the future. Okay. We can see global long-term climate warming exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius sooner than the expected date. Sooner, faster. I know, I'm not trying to go straight to conspiracy here, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying about the thing about the cloud creation, which is the thing that's been acknowledged by NASA and so many others. About the cloud creation, that it is like an umbrella. It cools. Low cloud creation cools. Has a cooling effect. So if you wanted to mask some heating in general, and you knew how to create clouds, why wouldn't you do it? Anyways. Yeah, Denver. It is a pretty big claim to make. I wouldn't jump on the yeah, you're right. Less cloud animals, more straight lines and stripes. Salt Lakers, yes. I see a lot less cloud animals, you're right. And it's a shame because I love me some cloud animals. But yeah, it is a big claim that Nancy Pelosi is somehow. It's that's a conspiracy theorist like go to, which actually probably holds more water than not. I wouldn't go like, oh, that's crazy talk. I would just be like, maybe, but I don't know if I want to jump there right away. I don't know if I want to just totally jump on that bandwagon, but it's it's an interesting wrinkle. Okay, guys, I really must leave. I must go. I must go do other things with my day, and I really appreciate you all being here. I don't know if I have anybody to thank. Hold on. Gonna check and see. I don't want to not, if anybody has contributed, need to give the proper alerts. Don't think so. All right, y'all. I will see you on Monday. It's Bandcamp Friday, which means it's a day when if you buy something from an artist on Bandcamp, they get all of the money instead of getting a cut taken out. So if you all want to go check out my Bandcamp, if there's something on there, I did have a recent record that I released. Phosphorus. Just got some good tunes on there. If y'all want to go check out my Bandcamp today, today's a good day to buy some music from me. If you are so inclined. All right. All right, y'all. Thanks so much. And until next time, peace.